Jake,
What's up, RK?
what is up? So I have a challenge for you.
Okay.
So you're giving out picks today, obviously. First time show history for the
Yes,
listeners. We got Jake Shwanitz on here. And I've been going back and forth on a nickname for you.
Okay.
And if your picks are good, I feel you're going to earn this nickname.
All right.
So you've heard of the Schwami.
Yes.
I'm thinking the Schwani.
Okay. I like it.
So, but the Schwami is that's like a sage, you know?
Right,
Like,
sure.
So you have to nail your picks, and then it's like, oh, yeah, Jake Shwanitz, that's the Schwani.
Well, the pressure's on, I guess. I mean,
Yes.
no better time than now, so let's get
Yes.
after it.
And as Zach Stevens has learned recently, I just throw out nicknames just like bang, bang, bang. And like if everyone in the company isn't calling you that within 2 weeks, I'm like, time for a new one. Got to try something new. Like, yeah, that just like stuck like glue. Like it was just boom, day one, I said it, and then everyone just started saying it.
Everybody, even Lindsay, when she came back, she's like, why haven't I called you Yaya before? That's so easy.
I know. Then it was Murchel. That was another one of my great nicknames. That one also just snap of the fingers.
You gave the Rapids guys their nicknames, by the way.
Yeah, and then I just called Dwayne Dwayner because that's just like a good hockey nickname. So there you go.
All right.
You got your chance.
I'm ready, man. I think we have some winners. Hopefully my picks come through, so let's see.
If you don't know Jake, he is our new DNVR Buffs beat reporter, podcaster, all the things that we do here at DNVR. And he's been doing a great job off the rip. So excited for the season to start on Friday.
Absolutely. Only, what are we, 3 days away now?
That is crazy. Like these weeks, you know, you feel like you're so far away from football. And then I feel like once you get close, you're like, oh my God, it's really close. Like,
Yeah.
I cannot wait for Friday. We obviously have our golf tournament in the morning, leads right into the Buffs game that night. Plenty of time for a nap and maybe a recharge before the game.
Yeah, you're going to need it, man. That's a long day for you.
It is, yeah. Probably on the golf course from like 8 a.m. So get to the golf course at like 7, be there till 1. Then you gotta start tailgating like no later than 4:30. So yeah, it's gonna be a good one for me.
And then you got to sustain the game, of course.
Yes, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
I feel good. I feel good.
I feel good about the Buffs' chances also.
Love that for us. All right, well, we'll see if maybe that squeaks into your big three. I have abstained from a big three today because we were doing Guess the Lines, which will be interesting. We've never done college football Guess the Lines, and I feel like Yaya overestimated us here. like we know, and it's easy to know 32 NFL teams and like what they are, who they are, who's their starting quarterback, all that stuff. The same cannot be said for college football. In fact, I feel like I could probably name less than 10 starting quarterbacks. Right, that might be. I
You
might
can
be
do better than 10, man.
Less than 20.
Okay.
Less than 20 starting quarterbacks in college football. So this is going to be an adventure.
I will say that that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this. That neither of you have an advantage, and I think it'd be kind of fun.
Okay, all right.
I did look at some of the lines as I was building a big three, though. I don't remember all of them, but
I did that yesterday, but I
Okay.
definitely don't remember any of them other than the ones I picked. So, as our guest here today, and as a first timer on the show, I'm very eager to see your big three, Jake.
yeah, let's get into it, I guess. We're going to go with Ohio State first half by 9.5 points over Notre Dame. Ohio State, a team that has a ton of talent, not only at running back, but at wide receiver, of course, Jackson Smith and Jigba, probably the top returning wide receiver in college football.
Hank's obsessed with him.
He's amazing. Notre Dame has a lot of injuries in the secondary, and they've had a lot of turnover in terms of transfers. They obviously have a new coach, Brian Kelly, now at LSU.
Right.
LSU thrown in the big three, too. But with Ohio State, I think that mismatch on the perimeter with the receivers against Notre Dame secondary, at least in the first half, 9.5. I think it's 17.5 for the game. On to Boston College, -7. This is all just a hype for me. My guy, Phil Dracovic and Zay Flowers, those are two of my favorite guys in probably the college football and draft landscape. Getting 7. Yaya, do we have the opponent? I'm sorry, I already forgot.
Giving 7.
Getting 7, yes.
Getting or giving?
Giving.
Giving,
yes. And then LSU on Sunday night, playing Florida State. Sunday night. Florida State coming into Death Valley. LSU favored by 3. Give me the Tigers. I believe in Brian Kelly to bring some offense back to Death Valley.
I love that we disagree on this because I just like disagreement. As you know, I'm big on vibes. And I feel as though you have done a great disservice to the vibes gods.
Oh, no.
When you, Brian Kelly, like the most Irish Catholic guy there is, leaves Notre Dame for LSU. Then he did like the fake Southern accent thing.
I know.
And I just saw like, oh, I know what's happening now. Like Brian Kelly is going full on Icarus. Flew too close to the sun. He's going to burn up and be sent back down. He's going to end up coaching like Bowling Green in a few years. So I'm anti Brian Kelly at LSU.
I hear you. That pick is more anti-Florida State, though, than anything.
Fair.
And I'll add that Boston College is playing Rutgers. They are giving 7 against Rutgers. Give me the point, or give me Boston College and -7.
Yeah, I believe Florida State last year lost to our South Alabama Jaguars. I say our because that's where they're based in Mobile.
Yes, exactly. The Senior Bowl.
Yes, exactly. The new site of the Senior Bowl, which is a little weird, but it is a much nicer facility. So, all right, we'll see what happens there. That is sick. Is that the only game on Sunday?
I think there's 2. There's also a game on Monday.
What?
Yeah. College football taking over.
Wow. Whoever's idea this was deserves a big pat on the back. Because I always say, like, why are we not playing every day?
We should, especially before the NFL starts. Why not, man? Let's just take it over. Everyone knows it's football time. We're all hungry for football.
Like, especially the MAC. I'm just like, everyone loves when the MAC plays on Wednesday, Tuesday and Wednesday nights. In the same way that the rest of college football says Friday and Saturdays, those are our nights. Just say Tuesday and Wednesday. Our whole conference is built around playing on Tuesday and Wednesday. That way you don't throw off the schedule. Like, you get a Tuesday game followed by a Saturday game. Like, no. Every game is on Tuesday and Wednesday. So then those 2 days are spoken for. Like, some college, some conference should say, like, we're doing Mondays and Thursdays. Like, whatever. Like, every day. There should be college football every day. And meanwhile, I'm interested to hear your take on this. I believe the MLS, the second that there's football on TV, should abandon weekends and stay away from them as far as they possibly can.
I'm actually all for that. They should take over Wednesdays and Tuesdays.
Yep.
And just do that every week. And that way it also helps with their schedule. And also the rest. It's the logical thing to do. It won't happen because anybody with money isn't logical.
Well, and I would say the big pushback that I get whenever I have that take is people go to games on weekends. And I assume I don't know, maybe with the new Apple deal, they're making decent money off of rights. But it could be more of a turnstile sport in terms of we need people in the seats to make money.
But tell me not, if you're at home, there's nothing going on a Tuesday or Wednesday, you're going to tune in because you want to see what's going on.
Well, I'm also far more likely to go to a Rapids game. Like, if you were like, hey, do you want to go to the Rapids game Tuesday night? I'd be like, yes. If you were like, hey, do you want to go to the Rapids game Saturday in the middle of the football season? I would say under no circumstances.
I do believe that they should just take over the summer with baseball, and then during the fall kind of transition, just go to weekdays. Like, it works for you too, like, especially because you have international breaks already like in there. So you can just switch it over during international break.
Do you notice a difference between the attendance on weekends and weekdays?
Yes, but not as much this year.
Okay.
This year actually stayed pretty similar, which is kind of surprising all league-wide.
Yeah. Also, just move the Rapids games to Coors Field.
There you go.
You do that, man. I'm going to love it to death. That's what I've been begging. I have, every time I see anybody in the Rapids organization, I tell them, you guys screwed up. Move it back downtown.
Yes. Again, make it easy for people to be like, oh, like I'm just at this bar and I see a bunch of people in Rapids gear. Like, I could go to the game. What's it, $20 to get in? Sure, I'm in.
Exactly.
Boom. All right, we just fixed the MLS. That's just the type of stuff that we do on this show.
Well done.
Before we move on, I want to tell you about our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook, where you can right now bet $5. Actually, Jake just moved here, just moved to Denver, so he just got the DraftKings Sportsbook app.
Sir.
Have you taken advantage yet of the Bet 5 on college football, get $250 in free bets? No, $200.
I have not yet.
Okay, this is great.
We're getting into college football this week, so
Perfect.
This is when we're getting in.
So you're going to bet $5 on like one of those Thursday night games. I assume they play on Thursday. Do they? Yeah, I think they do.
Yes, they do.
And all you got to do is put $5 on anything, and then you get $200 in free bets to use throughout the rest of the weekend. So we'll figure out what we want to put your $5 on at the end of the show, and we get to kind of like go along with you on the ride. maybe next time you're on the show, like, hey, where are you at? Like, what were you able to turn those $200 in free bets into?
Sure. Yeah,
all right,
let's get after it.
Love this. So get over to DraftKings Sportsbook, use that code DNVR when you sign up, and get $200 in free bets when you bet just $5 on any college football line. Of course, age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details, and if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right, yeah. If this was WWE, they'd be playing your music right now. So here we go. Guessing the lines. Week 1 of college football. I am scared shitless, gonna be honest.
We got this. I think we should have some faith in ourselves here, Ryan. You can't enter the season, on a negative note. So
I'm gonna trust you to be like, Old Dominion, they have a corner who has a 3rd round grade. So they can't be that bad.
I don't have any Old Dominion notes just yet, but let's check back in a few weeks.
All right, sounds good.
I will say the porn bots just got into the chat, so I feel my faith in you guys just increased so much.
This is great. The porn bots are always good luck.
Okay, great.
So let's do it. All right, week
Thank you,
1,
porn bot.
college football. Guess the lines. Let's ride.
First game we have is Virginia Tech versus Old Dominion.
I was kind of just throwing out a name. There's Old Dominion right there.
They play Friday at 5 p.m.
Okay.
Hokies on the road. Interesting.
That is, but Old Dominion is in the state of Virginia. I am at least 90% confident in that. So they don't have to go too far for this one. Shoot.
This was the matchup like 3-4 years ago where Old Dominion, I think, had that massive upset over Virginia Tech.
You're right. Yeah, once in a while, those Virginia small schools put together a squad. Shout out to Mike Trout in the comments, the pride of James Madison University.
And Old Dominion is in Norfolk, Virginia.
Beautiful.
Boom.
Well done.
Hell yeah. All right, so I'm going to say Virginia Tech, not like the best team in the ACC by any stretch of the mind. I'm going to say they're getting 26.5 or giving 26.5.
Oh, man. I think Virginia Tech's got a new coaching staff, if I remember correctly, and a new quarterback. I think I'm just going to go with Virginia favored by 13 here.
Wow, this is a big gap between us.
You guys are both off. It's -7.5 for Virginia.
Wow.
Oh, okay, so I have whatever. Peyton fell. I have greatly underestimated I'm just guessing based off of their logo, Old Dominion Royals?
Monarchs, I believe.
Oh, yes.
Close.
That's good. That's good. Same thing, right?
I guess depending on which country you're in.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That's crazy. Well, you were much closer than I, so you get the dub there. And I feel like I owe one to Old Dominion. I might have to take the money line.
Oh, wow. Love that.
Or I should take my own advice and think Virginia Tech should be favored by a lot more. That's usually the way we do this, but I feel like I've greatly disrespected the Monarchs.
Just keep that upset from a few years ago in your mind, though.
There you go.
All right, next game is Western.
Wait, you should let us guess based off the logos. That's definitely Western Michigan Broncos versus obviously Mel Tucker's Michigan State Spartans. Mel Tucker, of course, public enemy number 1, at least in parts of this office. And so he also has that team in a good place. Kenneth Walker was pretty much their entire offense last year.
Jarek Broussard there now, though.
And Jarek Broussard is there. He lost a step. He was not the same back last year. I have no idea even how much he's going to play.
He's so small, too.
Yeah, he is. Western Michigan, I mean, we love Western Michigan on this show. They're black and gold. They're the Broncos. And they play in the MAC. That's like a triple threat for me.
Yep.
That being said, this has got to be a big line. I'm going to say 30.5.
Oh, man, you're going high on me here. I think I'm going to go 23.5.
Jake has it with -23.
Whoa! Let's go. I mean, you bring on the college football guy, and this is what you do. You set yourselves up for failure.
Don't build me up too much.
Wow. Okay. That one I'm definitely taking Michigan State, sadly. All right. That's obvious. Illinois, Indiana.
I realize that these logos are not as surprising because I couldn't find any of the logos.
Fair enough. That orange on Illinois is a little off. Just going to say.
That's what they had on the I'm not going to spend 30 minutes looking for the right logo.
Okay, Illinois coming off a big win the other day. Who were they playing again?
They played
Wyoming.
Yes.
Mopped them.
Yeah, destroyed them.
I thought Wyoming with their like gritty, like we play in windy, shitty conditions thing would work against Illinois, and it did not. They were severely outmatched.
Quite the opposite. I think
Yes.
Illinois ran for 200, 250 yards on them. It was a beating.
But Illinois, generally a laughingstock of the Big Ten. And Indiana, a bit more resurgent.
Yes.
Also at home.
No Michael Penix for Indiana anymore.
Right. He plays at Washington now?
Oh, God. I can't remember off the top of my head. He was
In the
just
Pac-12.
just named starting quarterback wherever he
Yes.
is. So
Want to say Washington. Could be wrong. Definitely in the Pac-12.
this is an interesting one.
I'm going to say Hoosiers -7.
I'm going to say Hoosiers -4.
Hoosiers -3.
Oh, my God. I'm getting
Ooh.
smoked.
And Penix is at Washington, by the way.
Yeah, at least I got something right around here. All right. Next game. Arizona at San Diego State.
I know this one, just so you know. So.
Oh, okay. He's disqualified. I'm on the board, baby. All I got to do is guess, and I win. This is like a really good matchup. It's like a really bad Pac-12 team against a really average Mountain West team. Give me San Diego State -3.
-5.
Okay, that's the closest I've been. I'll take it. Would you take yourself back to yesterday before you had seen this line? Where do you think you would have had it?
I mean, just from looking at those two logos right there, I know Arizona's awful. I would have gone double digits at least for San Diego State.
There you go. Well, I think I would take San Diego State in this. I actually don't hate Jed Fish and what he's doing over there. I think he might have them somewhat on the right track. The hard thing with college football, Jed Fish actually reminds me a bit of Carl Durrell, where it's like being a good football coach only takes you so far if you aren't a great recruiter.
Yep.
And I think that's going to eventually be his ceiling. Much like Carl Durrell, though, I think he can get that team to respectability. It's just that you're never going to be able to compete unless this should be printed on. You know how like coaches print stuff on walls,
right?
Like in big letters. It should say you can't compete if you don't cheat.
Yeah, that's the name of college football
Exactly.
right there.
Exactly. And like I don't think they're just like good enough at cheating. They're too concerned about coaching football.
But don't take too many pointers from Arizona State though, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, right. Then right below that in little letters it says, "But don't cheat if you're not discreet."
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
We need to get you on a college football board here.
I
Perhaps
know.
the football or the playoff committee.
There we go, and we can just put that on like the playoff committee walls. So yeah, both Carl Durrell and Jed Fish just cheat more. It's not that hard.
Last one.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
Memphis at Mississippi State.
The Pirate.
What? Memphis? Is that because the food is good in Memphis? Okay. Not the biggest Memphis barbecue guy. Not against Memphis barbecue. All barbecue is beautiful in my heart. But I've had better. And Mississippi State. You got to go with like at least, in my opinion, at least the SEC touchdown.
Right.
Then you got to go the 3 points at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say 11.5 to Mississippi State.
I think I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to go 13.
Jake just prices right, you man. It's -15.
Okay.
Oh.
That wasn't a bad price, is right. If he would have said 11.5 or whatever, a half more than me, then I would have been kind of pissed. Okay. I got to say, so my plan was I was going to take a big 3 out of those. And I was so off that I really should like a couple of those. Like, I felt it should have been here. But it's not like the NFL where I actually trust my feelings. I'm just like, I'm just dumb. So I might have to go off the board here. I guess I do like Michigan State -23. That feels right to me. That one I felt like was a bit off. I know like some of those MAC offenses can really get it popping. I just don't think that works against a true Big Ten defense.
Right.
So give me that. And then I also guess I like Virginia Tech -7.5 at Old Dominion. I think maybe the price is being driven down by that upset a couple years ago.
It definitely could be the case for sure.
So there's 2 for me. And then Illinois, Indiana. And then I'll just throw on, wow, it has officially hit 2 touchdowns for the Buffs.
Yes. It keeps moving.
It does.
What's the limit here?
I don't know. And I just love that this keeps going up. One thing that I was noticing yesterday is they weren't hiking the money line nearly as much as they were hiking the points, and that tells me, okay, money's coming in on Colorado money line, very little money coming in on Colorado with the points. So the 2 bets that are getting hit hard right now are TCU -14, and then the people that are taking the Buffs are just taking the money line. I think it's going to go to 14.5 at one point, which will create a insane middling opportunity for college football sharps. So little inside betting here. If Dre was here right now, he would be just bewildered, like beside himself that I was able to pull this out. So this line opened up at 6.5.
Oh my gosh.
TCU -6.5. Obviously, less than a touchdown, right? Mm-hmm. There are going to be sharps right now who are just crossing their fingers, waiting for this thing to hit 14.5, because then you are going to get, as a bettor, anything from 1 touchdown to 2 touchdowns. I mean, the vast majority of games fall in between a 7 and 14-point finish. Like, you see teams win by 7, 10, 13. That's like a lot of finishes.
Right.
And you are going to have an insane amount of people, especially college football sharps, who are in on both sides, which is going to be crazy. So there's going to be people sitting there with a ticket that says TCU -6.5 and a ticket that says Colorado +14.5, just praying for anything that falls in between that so they can double their money.
I mean, that's what this season's all about, right?
Yep.
Those kind of opportunities. I will say, I just don't understand how TCU is a 14-point favorite. You just watch them last year. The offensive line was in shambles. They have a quarterback. They're apparently going to play 3 quarterbacks on Friday night.
Yep. Transfer protection.
They had a ton of transfers go out in the front 7 on defense. I just don't understand how this is 14. That is just mind-blowing. Colorado's going to have to be better on offense. It's almost like virtual guarantee.
Yep.
You can't be as bad as they were last year.
Yeah, 14 points is giving on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, you might not find a road dog out there this week that's not, even Old Dominion,
right?
Is getting respected at home. So Colorado is getting, I hope some coaches say they do, some coaches say they don't talk about like point spreads or anything like that with their team. I honestly hope Carl Durrell says, that team won 5 games last year. They won 1 more game than you guys did last year. Mm-hmm. And the pundits and Vegas and all this stuff, and a lot of money is coming in on their side. They think you're going to lose by 2 touchdowns at home to that team. Not to mention brand new coaching staff
right
at TCU.
Exactly.
So it's not like this is the old Gary Patterson Horned Frogs where it's like, oh, okay, well, they're one of the more well-coached teams in college football. Like, lock them up. Sonny Dykes has been largely a disappointment other than his original rise.
Right. And, you're going to hear a lot about the air raid with Sonny Dykes. I do think the over is potentially in play here because I think that both these teams are going to try and run a lot of plays. Seems like Colorado's going to run no huddle, but they've also talked a lot about running the ball too. So that's an interesting dichotomy there is what side actually comes out. I'll say this, just kind of perusing the lines here. Looks like Colorado's the 3rd biggest home dog. Hawaii's at +16 as a home dog. And then Georgia Tech at +21.5 against Clemson.
Wow. So there you go. This is a really interesting one. And I'll be honest, I just like all of the CU bets. And obviously I'm a homer. But at the same time, I'm just using like logic that I would apply to any game, which is like not a great team taking on obviously a bad team, or at least from last season comparing them. And one team is at home under the lights on Friday night with everything to prove and no expectations. Mm-hmm. The other team has expectations, is coming with a brand new coaching staff. It's a difficult, to me, I would just, no matter who the teams are, I would be saying like, yeah, this seems a bit off. So like Colorado +3 or +200 to win the first quarter.
Yeah.
That's insane value. Again, that's, go down on a 12-play drive, score a touchdown on your script that you've been working on for a month?
Yeah.
And then get a stop. And it's like you're pretty much going to win that bet. +7.5 or +320 in the first half. I'm hitting that. And then, of course, +14 or +400 in the game. I'm going to, I'm at that point of the season where I'm in optimist mode. So I'm just going to lay myself out there, put my heart on the line. And if I lose all of these bets, then, I'll learn my lesson. But coming into this, I'm going in.
So be it. I think one thing we need to look at here is the market's going to have to correct eventually. Of course, it's week 1, so there's going to be huge corrections across the board just next week. But I think this TCU team is one of those teams that could see a big correction just week over week. I mean, if this game's within a touchdown, I don't think TCU is going to be a huge favorite over anyone like this, maybe until, Kansas.
Right.
But besides that, 14 points just for this team, as you were saying, new coach, lots of transfers out. It just feels like too much.
Yeah, and one of the things that I saw someone talking about is TCU's number 1 and number 2 wide receivers are both 6'4". Colorado's number 1 and number 2 corners are both like 5'10". A lot of times that's going to make a difference at some point in the game. It's not one of those things where they're setting the line with that in mind. Like, oh, this mismatch. Like, it's like, oh yeah, you're going to have a jump ball in the end zone at some point that, one of those guys is going to go up and get. You expect that to happen. But this is also the air raid. It's not, play action deep shots. It's short area quickness is like what the air raid is built upon. Those guys should be able to cover those guys on slants.
Yeah.
At least at some point.
That's the strength of this Colorado defense is that front 7. We've talked a lot about Josh Chandler-Semedo, the new middle linebacker, and his ability just all over the field. On TCU, number 1, Quentin Johnston, the wide receiver. My God,
Beast.
That guy can play.
Beast.
He is unbelievable.
We've seen a lot of good receivers come through Colorado, like on the field for the Buffs, and on the field for other teams. Obviously, we saw Drake London put on a show last year. I remember obviously Visca put on plenty of shows. AJ Green came years back. This is one of those guys who could be a first rounder.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So that's fun. To me, that's fun. Regardless, I like to see those guys up close and personal under the lights of Folsom.
Yeah, and their backfield's going to be dynamic too. This is a team that has speed. It's just a matter of if the line's going to hold up and allow the quarterback quarterbacks, I guess, to get the ball out there in space. So,
how do you think? Not to turn this into a Buffs podcast, but we're
already there.
We've fulfilled our obligations here. What do you think is the best way to take advantage of a team playing multiple quarterbacks?
That's an interesting question. Obviously you'd want the least talented one out there, which I would assume is Max Duggan. It looks like Chandler Morris, just from watching the tape last year, he was the quarterback when TCU upset Baylor.
Okay.
That's who I'd be more worried about. But the approach in handing multiple quarterbacks is very interesting because, as we talked about with CU, it's two very different guys in JT Shrout and Brendan Lewis. Brendan Lewis could be just used in a goal line, short yardage package, a lot of option stuff. And you could see someone like JT just back in the gun, kind of directing the offense, as you would see almost any other quarterback. So I think the best thing to prepare would just be ready for anything. I think that's the best word of advice.
Tell me what you think of this. This is I've thought about this a lot this week. I am coming in with two vastly different game plans. And so depending on how Chris Wilson wants to do it, you could reverse this, but I'm thinking the first quarterback, you heat them up, and you are sending guys left and right and center, and so the other guy, knowing he's coming in the next 2 drives, is like, okay, I got to get the ball out quick. As soon as he comes in, boom, you're dropping out. You're acting like you're sending pressure and you're dropping out, because I feel like that's what it's like being a pitcher or a batter in the on deck circle. You're watching the pitches, you're trying to get a feel for it. He's seeing all that heat coming. He's like, okay, this is my chance to take the job, right? Just make sure I don't get sacked, get the ball out quick, and then boom, you're dropping into those flat zones, and you might be able to get him. Yeah,
great point. I think also the Colorado offense could have an impact on actually the TCU offense. If Colorado is able to build long drives and sustain them, TCU is just not going to have as much time on the field, so eventually you would think that they're just going to have to pick a guy, and they're not going to be able to do let's see what this looks like here in the second quarter, because if it's second quarter 2-minute drill, you're not really running a package going like, well, let's see how this works. So
when you watch good teams beat air raid teams, what happens is long sustained drive, 12-second 3 and out. Long sustained drive, 14-second 3 and out. And it's just like you're out of it then. You have no rhythm. The other team is beating down your defense. Your defense gets no rest. It's a tall task for the Buffs. But if they're going to do it, beat up that defense, get quick 3 and outs, and you got a chance to take over the game.
Absolutely. And if they can get to the quarterback with this front seven and create turnovers, TCU is going to be throwing the football. You got to at least come away with at least one interception, I think, to have a chance in this game. Get
your hands up on the defensive line. Try to knock down some of those slants. All right, I'm too excited. We need to stop. This was great. Appreciate you coming in here and just smacking me at a game on my own show. Really, really like you for that. But great job.
Appreciate it.
We'll have to have you on for another Guess the Lines. Good luck with your $200 in free bets over at DraftKings.
Thank you very much.
And thank you guys for tuning in.